Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to another exciting action-packed edition of PWR Today. Not PWR Today, but PWR Today, pause, today. This is Matthew Thomas alongside Linda Kay. Linda, how are you this fine October 5th morning?
I'm doing mighty swell today. And when you say PWR today, is it like the Today Show today?
It may be, but you may actually have to prepare yourself for PWR Today this week coming up very soon.
Ooh, that is correct. Yes.
I mean, the possibilities are endless. The different branding options that we have before us are, I've got like one of those little boards at home with the thumbtacks and the string with all the different names and what they could possibly do. But I'll tell you one name that's already taken that cannot be beat is the name of what's the name of that clothing company, Linda?
That would be Collar and Elbow. Make sure to go to collarandelbowbrand.com and check out the latest and greatest in wrestling street fashions. And to save some cash, to save 10% off your order, use promo code LindaK. That's LINDAKAY.
So, Linda, there was some news yesterday, and it was news of the social media kind, news of the AEW kind. There apparently has been a Twitter war between Andrade and Sammy Guevara, going back and forth with. You can find the exact tweets out there yourself, but there was a little bit of a spat between those two going back and forth, which also led to the likes of, I believe, MJF, and there was at least one other AEW talent that I believe it was Ricky Stark that chimed in and then immediately deleted tweets. Now, we're in a different digital age than we were decades ago, and there's been some talk about what kayfabe actually looks like in 2022. But my question to you, Linda, is whether this is actual a legitimate squabble, or whether this is something to try to get a little bit more interest onto a feud or a match, as we kind of had with, as they kind of did with that skirmish between, I believe it was Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara. Are we at a point, Linda, where this is intriguing, or this just looks bad for the company?
I mean, I feel and would hope that anything internal that's true, where there is some animosity between some individuals within a promotion, would be handled offline,
Right.
behind the doors, behind the scenes. Let's keep Twitter for I mean, there's so many people on so many either positive or negative things on there, and just so much out of nowhere things with Twitter. It's hard to really manage and really focus and pinpoint on what's true, what's not true. I mean, at one point, Twitter was just expressing your opinion, something simple, something light, not necessarily trying to start a feud with other people. With pro wrestling in general and a televised product, I would personally like to see that kept on my TV, on my phone, on my tablet, laptop, or whatever apparatus you watch your regularly scheduled pro wrestling programming each week. But I just see it as a way to draw some more eyes to what could potentially be a feud. But I mean, I would say, hey, let's keep it on TV, but there's so much going on within AEW programming. Maybe this is just their way, or maybe it's a new precedent. Hey, let's get stuff going. Let's ruffle some feathers, getting people talking.
And the thing of it is, I mean, we had so much involving Punk and the Bucks and Kenny Omega. I would think intentionally they would try to keep some of that not going in that direction, if in fact it was a method to building something up. I will say this much though, Andrade, a very underutilized talent in that company, in that promotion. So if there is a silver lining here, hopefully it's, we do see something, in regards to him. But I feel like there are much better ways to potentially get it done. Well, speaking of great ways to get it done, there was no finer way to open up a television program than we saw last night with the Redcoats themselves, Pretty Deadly, opening up NXT. as you and I well know, the two tastiest snacks, and not just NXT, but the entire WWE. And I don't think there is neither fish nor fowl who is going to disagree with that statement. They made the case they'd already beaten everyone and wanted to be awarded the tag team titles forever, which I think was a fine proposition. However, the Brawling Brutes did not agree with that. Pretty Deadly getting the line in there, trying to back away from their comments about the Brutes, actually saying that they were hacked by Kevin Nash, which I got quite the
Yes.
kick out of. But this would set up the Pretty Deadly and the Brawling Brutes in your main event, which we'll get to later. But Linda, there was some indifference by the crowd, which that is typically the reaction you don't want, is indifference. But hey, the crowd was silent for this. I was fine with that. It allowed me to kind of bask in the glow of Pretty Deadly a little more.
Right. And it just being not necessarily a new energy, but just a revived energy with now, hey, we're actually seeing the black and the gold changing over there. I mean, the set's still the same, but now you got black and gold being the primary colors there surrounding the logo. You're not getting the 2.0. You've got Wade Barrett along with Suda. I'm not sure, but he's obviously one of the other commentators. He's awesome, even though he sounds just like Vic Joseph to me. As well as Byron Saxon, who we just saw on Raw the other night, getting over to Orlando for this, I don't want to say debut of NXT Black and Gold, because we've seen a couple episodes since that graphics unveiling, but it definitely had a little feel that was slightly different. There was just like another like pushed energy toward this, and I don't know. They mentioned Vic Joseph being gone, and I noticed Mackenzie Mitchell being gone. Maybe I don't know if did they get married yet? No, I don't know, but they were both gone. So we just got a different commentating team as well, but still, a great product, well delivered, and a great way. Pretty Deadly. I mean, hey, let's kick off the show with some champions of your brand and the tastiest snacks there are down there. And now you got the Brawling Brutes. Hello, how hot are they? Coming in from SmackDown to face another hot tag team. I liked this. It's another way of, hey, Brawling Brutes. They are tough and baby faces now. They are hot. Everyone's excited to see them, and I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised to see them down there as well.
Without a doubt, we would see. I believe, Linda, this was this premiere of Oro Mensa. Had we seen him wrestle before?
We got him qualifying in that. Oh no! Did he qualify? I think he qualified for that North American title.
Well, we would have him
Ladder
going up
match.
one
Yes.
one on one against Carmelo Hayes last night. We would see
Mm-hmm.
Carmelo Hayes picking up the victory after interference by one Trick Williams, which would almost immediately lead us into our next match. Andre Chase going up against Von Wagner. Good to see Chase you there in support of their. Is he a headmaster? Is he a dean? He's a dean, right?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I would say he's a dean. I mean, we see him in the classroom, but he's more disciplining them. So I would say he is a dean.
Yes, we'll go with the dean of Chase University. This would be a qualifying match for the North American title ladder match. And as much as I was hoping to see Mr. Chase bring home this chance for his prestigious institution, it was not the case. Von Wagner with the win here, Linda.
Yeah. There's still a lot of momentum there behind Von Wagner, and he's a big guy, big dude. In a ladder match, they'll add another added element for the title coming up.
So apparently, completely now separated from Pretty Deadly, Lash Legend was in action against Wendy Chu. We're seeing a little more of Lash Legend here, and it seems like the in ring work. This was one of the longer matches I think that we'd seen from Lash Legend. It would not be her with the victory, though. It would be Wendy Chu picking up the win here.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that she is away from Pretty Deadly. I mean, maybe that can happen again, but now that it's a different feud, now that she's not really feuding with Fallon Henley again, or maybe she might be. I'm not really sure. Lash Legend got to have her own promo, a quite lengthier one, going to commercial, really selling herself again. So I think they're going to continue with that push for her. I know she didn't beat Wendy Chu last night, but I think there's definitely something more. We'll see some more Lash Legend They're in NXT, black and
We would
gold.
have further women's action. Toxic Attraction going up against Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons. Stark and Lyons here again with the victory. Um, I'm kind of curious as to where Toxic Attraction goes from here. Maybe seemingly losing a little bit of. I mean, it's hard to say they're losing momentum. I mean, losing momentum perhaps in the win-loss column. I still think it's a very, very overstable in NXT. But are we any closer, Linda? Are we any closer with this booking to getting that Toxic Attraction call up?
You would think so. I mean, just having them in that tag tournament, and then I think were they on SmackDown too, just in a tag match somewhat recently as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we have seen them utilized several times, on SmackDown. Which that there's my question to you, Linda. You see that occasionally. Do you feel like that kind of waters them down for the main roster, though? Does that take away that splash when you just you have the talent that can? Oh, here they are. Oh, they're back down. I think of debuts. I think of call ups. I think of Paige showing up and winning the title her first night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it seems like we have been getting a few more of those kind of going back and forth. They don't particularly belong to any brand. I don't think it hurts the likes of a Ricochet or a Natalia or somebody who kind of comes down like that. But I think you are perhaps, hampering that splash and that initial impact of that call up that is called up and is therefore a main roster talent.
Yeah, some great points there. Especially for those who may not catch their dominance and what they have been doing, and that they have been tag team champions at NXT. Instead, you just see them on the main show losing, or hey, they got that win. Remember the tournament? And then there was the injury; they were pulled
Yeah.
out of it. But it's hard to really keep them fresh in your minds if they're not featured regularly. I do agree that, hey, if you get that call up, let's keep it maintained, keep it strong. Obviously still utilized here. Back and forth is needed, but for those who don't see NXT, yeah, they may not realize just how strong Toxic Attraction has been and still are. As far as getting them called up, it's kind of hard to say because Mandy Rose is such a strong champion
Yeah.
and really the queen of NXT. I want to say 2.0, but now it's back to NXT. But hey, she was there at NXT when it was black and gold before the changeover. Obviously, she was called up at on the main roster for several years, but it's kind of hard to pull them when you can still have Mandy really help bring them up with her.
Yeah.
If that should happen at some point again, getting her back on the main roster.
Well, and stop and think too, Linda. I mean, you look at um, right now, heading into Extreme Rules, we have two female factions feuding. We've got Damage Control, and we have got the faction led by Bianca Belair. So, if you are going that route, if you need somebody, and here's the thing, I'm fine with Damage Control. Like, I think Toxic Attraction is a great faction. Bianca's faction right now seems a little bit thrown together, and I know they needed somebody, a face faction, to go up against Damage Control. But if that's the route you're going, I mean, I think that could perhaps be an impactful call up there if you wanted to. Yeah, and I think that when they're brought up, I think Toxic Attraction is going to get a very favorable response. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's something that we could potentially see utilized, because I do think Bayley's winning the title, and I do think you are going to have a monster stable there, kind of like you have with the Bloodline over on SmackDown on the women's front. But I want to add another thing in there too, as far as NXT call ups. One of the first ones that we have seen done in this Triple H regime was Johnny Gargano. And the attention to detail and the talk of his NXT accolades right now during this era, I think, is much different than you have seen in the past. Normally this is just, hey, it's a new talent, Johnny Jimson or whoever is being brought up. yeah. I remember that one. He didn't. His NXT star didn't quite transfer to the main roster. Most people don't remember Johnny Jimson. But anyway, so I think that they're going to hopefully be presented a little bit differently, and hopefully they can call upon some of that NXT success.
Absolutely. And you make up a great point that being led by Mandy Rose, that'll definitely be, I would think, a favorable uh, choice from the WWE universe.
Without a doubt. So we would have another episode of the Waller Effect. This time highlighting Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez in their upcoming match at Halloween Havoc. Still needing a stipulation for this match, so Waller would spin the wheel, and it is now going to be a Weapons Wild match. So apparently, we got a match where you can utilize weapons.
Yes, and might I just add, I do love the Grayson Waller Effect show. I love the set. I love that it is Instagram Live, legit. I love they have the comments at the bottom while they're all favoring Grayson Waller. I mean, hey, he's a cocky guy. That works out perfect. I love how they have a camera on him the whole time while
Yeah.
he's Instagram living himself, and you have the ladies there just going at it, and him saying, "Quit interrupting me!" Like there was just a lot of great chemistry in that segment, and I'm liking this feud between Cora and Roxy. You got good girl, bad girl, wild child to just a angel, I guess,
Yeah.
if we're gonna describe a Roxanne Perez right now, just between the two of them. But this is something I'm really enjoying, just the feud between the two of them as well, and getting this display at the Grayson Waller Effect TV show was brilliant. I definitely enjoyed this, and I would like to see more episodes.
Well, I think there are some more in your future. And what was also in our future last night was Duke Hudson going up against Julius Creed. And my goodness, poor Duke, not having the best of luck last night, loses in a squash match against Julius Creed. Now, we would have Brutus come to ringside and continue to attack Duke after the match. This would be interrupted by Damon Kemp announcing the stipulation between his match with Julius Creed. Linda, apparently the stipulation now is if Kemp defeats Julius, it's not Julius that's leaving NXT, it is Brutus.
That's interesting. A potential split of the brothers, which makes me believe that Julius, I think I said that last week too. Julius Creed should be getting that victory. Yeah, do not want to see the Creed brothers split. They are, I mean, I love Pretty Deadly, but the Creed brothers are my favorite tag team right now in NXT. So that, this heat that you see between Julius and Brutus and Damon Kemp is great. I'm loving it. You're seeing more, just more personality with Damon Kemp as well. So I think that's a feud that's going great. But um, when I saw Duke Hudson, remember a couple weeks ago when it was Gallus and Briggs and Jensen and back, or Gallus was at that bar set up backstage with the darts and the playing cards, and I'm like, oh, Duke Hudson. So hey, we just got him a few weeks later. One thing I do want to mention though about Grayson Waller again, though, we talk about what happened to him and his eyeballs. And this is Extreme Rule season. I know it's a different show, but we had Apollo Crews. I'm assuming he came out from under the ring in that security outfit, and that vision came true.
My goodness, we got too much stuff going on. We got Apollo Crews and all of that. We got white rabbits. We got QR codes.
We got the smiley faces for the schism too.
Yes, we did. Schism with a new member, Mr. Smiley Face, Mr. Mask, that you've seen a few times in the crowd, helping to kind of trap Cameron Grimes last night. So the schism grows by one more member, Linda.
I think it might be a female.
Oh, interesting.
Now speaking of premonitions, not Apollo Crews' premonitions, but remember I had that guess, that premonition, if you will, that the members of the schism, I'm sorry, the dyad.
You did. So you
veterans.
are very well tuned to Joe Gacy's group. I mean, maybe you need to like send in an application or something.
Perhaps. I do love smiling, and the smiley faces would fit perfect for me. Hey, so did the QR code come on during the Gacy segment? I know you and you had talked about that yesterday. I gotta go back and see.
Linda, upon first view, I did not see it. I was watching pretty hard, I did not see it, but my goodness, I'll tell you right now, and I think Meathead. I don't think we discussed it. I think he and I both missed the QR code on Graves' iPad Monday night.
That I would have to go back and look at too. So all these, so okay, now you can't just watch for one; you have to watch for several.
Yes, yes, you have
So you
to.
can't miss any second. But hey,
You
brilliant.
cannot be a passive viewer of the WWE product. And if you were a passive viewer last night, Linda, you would have missed Zion Quinn getting the win over Hank Walker. Now, to me, the real story of this was after the match, Zion Quinn attempting to attack Walker. However, coming to Walker's aid is his new buddy, one of my favorite NXT talents, none other than Quincy Adams.
Quincy Elliott?
Quincy Elliott. I'm sorry.
Oh, no
I don't
worries.
know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was.
John Quincy Adams. I was like, where did Adams come from? Hey, to be fair, I mean, Pretty Deadly with that state of their dress or whatever they were wearing, the attire and the look of that era, I believe.
See, exactly. So yeah. I mean, tell me that's not a headline right there. I mean, Hank Walker being saved by John Quincy Adams.
Yes, this is the new NXT.
Yes, indeed. Well, there were plenty of they were trying to go for a main event, Linda, that would draw money last night, that would draw plenty of dead presidents, if you will. That was my attempted segue right there.
Yes,
into
exactly.
Pretty Deadly going up against Brawling Brutes in the main event. It would be Pretty Deadly picking up the win after there was some Imperium interference at the end, and we would see multiple NXT tag teams come out of the very end to kind of answer Pretty Deadly's challenge. So last night, Linda, seemingly bookended by the NXT tag team division.
Right. I enjoyed that. I thought, could there be a chance Brawling Brutes would get the tag titles from Pretty Deadly? I thought there might have been a chance,
Yeah.
but as we know, there is that huge 6-man Donnybrook match that we're going to have at Extreme Rules this weekend with the Brawling Brutes and with Imperium. That, hey, they came, if you're going to have the Brawling Brutes back in Orlando for their match last night, you got to send over Imperium back. Hey, this is a match with a lot of fuel, a lot of fire. Definitely looking forward to it. We didn't have Sheamus nor Gunther there, but we didn't need to. This was a highlight on the tag teams at NXT, like you just said. And then it could have ended there, the run-in, Pretty Deadly still champions. But no, we then have their possible next opponents coming out, which is great to see as well. And, things just, going in full swing as we near Halloween Havoc.
Absolutely. And we will be in full swing here at PWR Today as well. Linda, we can't guarantee a 6-man tag tomorrow, but we can guarantee a wonderful 2-man show as the man they call Meathead and myself recap Dynamite from tonight. So make sure you join us tomorrow for all of the coverage and the fallout from Dynamite. For Linda Kay, this is Matthew Thomas, and we will talk to you tomorrow.